Hello to anyone who's watching this video on the internet. You're watching a game that was arranged through the Gauntlet, which is a community on the internet that gets together and plays indie tabletop role-playing games and comes together to celebrate indie tabletop role-playing games through various means. If you go to gauntlet-rpg.com, you'll find all the stuff that Gauntlet does, including blogs, forums, the zine that Gauntlet puts out. Called Codex, which usually is a mix of supplements and original games. There's also the Gauntlet Podcasting Network, of which there are a variety of sorts, from podcasts looking at Power Grid Apocalypse games to like podcasts about the community to like just podcasts about dungeon modules. They're all really neat. There's also the Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend, which is kind of like a mini con where folks outside the Gauntlet get together and just like play with ourselves. It's fun. The next one is in June. If I remember correctly, the last weekend of June, from the 24th to the 27th. So check out that. There'll be a link down below. Check out all the stuff involved with the Gauntlet. But the main one, at least in my eye, is the Gauntlet calendar, to which this game and multiple others is arranged. This is going to be the start of a series this month looking at Balikbayan Returning Home, a game by Jamila Najadi, who you might remember from such games as Once More Into the Void and Apocalypse Keys, and probably a bunch more. They're incredibly prolific. Just check them out at temporalhiccup.itch.io. This is just kind of like one of their main games that kind of like blew up and got a lot of folks to pay attention to them. Again, they've been able to check this out. Although this version of the game we're playing, though, is, if I remember correctly, is just exclusive to their Patreon at the moment, because this is Balikbayan 2.0. Um, so the only thing I think the only place this version has been seen is on the Asians Represent stream, which I was also on that show. So for when that game was played, which was a lot of fun, and glad to be bringing this version of that game to the Gauntlet. So who are these people who are playing or checking out this version? Well, I would like folks to introduce themselves, and pronouns, and kind of like what they're looking forward to in this game, what they've heard about it. I should start that. Should introduce myself. Hi, my name's Leandro. I use he him pronouns, and Balikbayan Returning Home is, for those who don't know it, it's a kind of like it's a cyberpunk game, but about uh it's quite magical for a cyberpunk game. I'd say it is about like ancient elementals who have been enslaved by the core, who have broken free and are trying to like chart their future and their history. It's quite special to myself as also as a Filipino, who has not done what the title is, Balikbayan, for those who don't know, literally just means returning home. So in a way, the subtitle is going back to home. Like Balik is back and Bayan is like town. That's like the most literal interpretation of it. So this game, which is quite steeped in a lot of Filipino myth and folklore, is is something quite a bit special to myself. But don't worry, you don't that's no pressure on y'all. You feel free to engage with this game as much as you want to. I should also say that this is kind of like part of a semi-ongoing series that I'm doing in the Gauntlet that titled Future Creep, which is basically just looking at a bunch of cyberpunk games. Suppose that last month we looked at Neon Black, which is a Fortune Dark game. This month, Balikbayan. Next month, it's gonna be the Sprawl. So there we go. I look forward to that. All right, I'm gonna go counterclockwise on my screen. So that's gonna start with Mario. So introduce yourself and what you're looking forward to about this game.
Yeah, hey, my name is Mario. I use he, him pronouns. I've played the first version of this game, and so I'm super stoked to come back to it and try a different playbook because these might be, at least for those pity white guys like myself, the most interesting playbooks you would come across. Uh, and they to be honest, it's a bit mind blowing. So it can be the same, like super interesting, but also pretty intimidating because it feels like there's so many cultural nuances to the playbooks that I just don't get, beside like the names and stuff. But yeah, I like them very much, and I'm just like I just want to get a few hours in with these super crazy characters that you need to come up with because the playbooks are awesome.
Oh yeah, well, we'll definitely get to look at those playbooks sooner rather than later. Uh, Up next, Bodhi, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Bodhi. I use they them pronouns, and I've been wanting to play BALIKBAYAN for months and months now. So I'm super excited to get a chance to play. And yeah, like Mario said, kind of looking forward to diving into the amazing playbooks.
Up next, Steven, introduce yourself.
Hey there, I'm Steven, he, him. I was interested in this game partly because well, I mean, it's a game by Jammy. It's one I haven't gotten to play before, and those are the main issues. I also play and facilitate a lot of belonging outside belonging games, and I'm always interested in playing when I haven't before.
Cool, cool. And last but not the least, Donna, why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, my name is Dana. My pronouns are he, him, and yeah, nothing really to all your points.
Sorry, can't hear you.
Yeah, Donna, you're very, 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 very faint. Yeah, we can't hear you at all. Oh no.
How's that? Any better?
Just slightly, but still like
If
faint.
it's not going through to the if you're sure it's going through to the right mic, are you sure that the gain is adjusted correctly on the mic?
Yeah, that was the first thing I checked. So let me see if I can change to a different
Yep.
mic.
Also,
So
also, Steven, you've hopped on the wrong mic again as well. Okay. All right. All right. Well, well, let
Sorry
Donna
about
like
that.
no worries. Um, we'll let Donna like sort out his technical issues. And I'll just kind of like go straight into like an explanation of what the game is. Well, there is an intro, which I'm hoping we could all read. Take turns. We might have to wait for Donna to come back for that. I will say that, like, yeah, as Steven said, like this alluded to, this game is belonging outside belonging. No dice, no masters. Which this is like stems from Dream Askew and Dream Apart, by Avery Alder and Ben Rosenbaum. Um, for those who don't know, it is like diceless, token based like games of a collection of people, trying to belong outside of belonging. It's there in the title. Donna, are you there? Alright, we'll give you like
okay, can you hear me now?
yeah,
Any better?
hmm much better.
Yeah, that's loads better.
Except it'd be good if I could hear you. Can you? Can
Oh,
someone? Oh no, that's
yeah.
good. We can hear you now.
Okay, all
Okay.
right. You can hear us now. Okay, fab, cool. So, would you introduce yourself then, Donna?
Sorry, so now I'll be listening to everyone in one ear only. So I've had to change my location for today's game, hence the mess up. Sorry, my name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him. I am excited to play yet another jammy game. Never enough time to play them all. Um, and yeah, I'm big fan of cyberpunk stuff in general. So really interested to see the intersection of cyberpunk and an entirely unfamiliar culture slash mythos. So yeah, will be cool.
Yeah. All right. So, why don't we then all? I think we're gonna like collectively read the intro. So like take if folks go to like the intro page, we'll take turns reading out each paragraph, same order we just did. Um, so starting with myself, and then I'll go Mario, Bodhi, Steven, and Donna, and back. So it's been a long time since we've been home. Last time we were here, Earth still had real trees and grass, animals roamed in shrinking forests, the sky was blue, vast, and bright behind the wires. Half of the population hadn't even been affected by natural disasters.
The last time we were here, there were so many more of us. Elementals, a being made of strange stuff between magic and nature, reality and fantasy, hope and fear. The supernatural. We inspired legends, myth, the stories humans told to scare one another into behaving. We were all of that.
A long time ago, the humans built machines that could see us, sense us, and more importantly, contain us, enslave us. We were magic, we were power. We fueled their dreams, their desires. We reshaped reality for them. At first, we did it out of love. But when the love faded, we realized we didn't have a choice. The freedom we had was long gone.
They changed us, all of us, into something like a machine that dreams of magic. That's what we are now. Inside us is a string held tight, on the verge of breaking between machine and magic.
We escaped the colonies, banded together, we made it back home. The cost was high, but we made it home. The journey was perilous, the journey demanded sacrifice, but we made it home. It had to be all worth it.
But now our old masters are after us, and they refuse to let us go. They're willing to tear apart our home, what's left of it, to bring us back. But no, we're not going back. We're never going back. This is our home, and we fight. We have to destroy them before they destroy us. We don't have any other choice. What will that destruction look like? Well, we don't know. Yeah.
Will we be able to outrun our masters and those who hunt us down? Can we use our magic to bring about the rebirth of the city and all elementals? Will this be our reckoning or our homecoming? That's what we play to find out.
Yeah, so I think I can't do any better summing up the game than Jamie just did for us. So there we go. I think we all know kind of like what the stakes of it, what we are, um, and what we're meant to do. But just to put it plainly, we are the city has we're still in the city, though we may be small in number. We'll have to like yes stand up and fight. Will this be a reckoning or a homecoming? We'll play to find out. Okay, so let's go to characters. Let's go to the characters tab, and we will once again take turns reading out each like blurb for each playbook. Don't worry if you mispronounce the words; it's perfectly fine. Happens. Um, so I should also say that like unlike in other like belonging outside belonging games where it is like GMless, Balikbayan does have like a GM, so I won't be taking up the playbook. And I'll be playing mostly the setting elements. Um, so there are gonna be four main characters, and there's a lot going on here, and I'll introduce kind of like what's the different beats or like different parts of this. That kind of makes it a bit different from other BOP games. But first, we'll go in the same order, and we'll just go left to right on the character sheet, reading them off. So I'll start. Uh, First off is the Tikbalang. Just realized there's a name there. Change that. That was a character I played on that stream. So there's the Tikbalang. Generations ago, all animals of the earth died out. You carry the earth's memories of them, hollow magic that gives you their strength, agility, speed, abilities, and form. As a Tekbalan, you can access these memories and become any anthropomorphic version of these animals. And also, let's read out the lure, which is when someone asks you for advice or tells you what they need, they gain a token.
Then I continue with the Diwata. Generations ago, the planet's elements became cruel, devastating the planet. You carry the purest form of these elements: fire, wind, water, and earth. As a Diwata, you can access these memories and command the elements and bend them to your will, vision, and desire. The lure is when you ask someone to describe something beautiful or tells me to not hold back, they gain a token.
So I'm going to carry on with the saint. Generations ago, humans fought wars over gods and worship. You carry the remnants of that faith, the power of prayer. As a saint, you can access these histories and beseech the little gods, the forgotten gods that haunt our city. And the lure of the saint is when someone asks me what I believe in or tells me that they're losing faith, they gain a token.
Then the Aswang. Generations ago, humans feared the dark and what stalked them. You carry the remnants of that fear, humanity's desire to be consumed. As an Aswang, you can access these memories and use blood and despair as your weapon. Their lure is when someone asks for my kindness or trade, they get a token.
So this is the Santelmo. Generations ago, humans despaired over death. You carry the remnants of that despair and humanity's desire to reconnect to those lost to death. As a Santelmo, you can connect to these memories and access almost any information, even the ghost of the wisdom left behind. And their lure is when someone asks me to listen to ghosts or tells me a secret no one else knows, they gain a token.
Cool. And the last one is the Duende. Generations ago, humans obsessed over material wealth. You carry the remnants of that greed and humanity's desire to build grand things of beauty and power. As a Duende, you can create the most wonderful and terrible of machines. The lure is when someone asks me to explain something or tells me how they can help me build something, they gain a token. Cool. So playbooks are cool so far. There's all the drop down menus, and if you all play the Jammy game, you know that the drop down menus are hype. I would also ask folks to look at each playbook's elemental magic. Um, these are kind of like your essentially kind of like your two big spells. They're kind of like most of the magic of the playbooks will kind of like form around what those two spells can do. But as always, you got your suite of strong moves, neutral moves, and weak moves, um, and play to find out. So have a look through those. There are tips there as well. Have a kind of look through those and like you know see what folks interest yourselves, and then just shout out here like what y'all are interested in playing.
Um, Last time I played the Tikbalang, so that's something I'm not interested in. I think I might turn to something darker like the Santelmo, just as a first guess, but I'm open to everything.
I've got about 4 playbooks that I'm equally interested in, so I'll just pick one from what's left because there's going to be one that I'm interested in at the end.
I think the Santelmo jumped out at me as well, but I think I would be very interested in playing the Aswang.
I think I'm drawn to the Tikbalang or Saint.
What do you got? 4 choices. So
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to go choosing between the Diwata and the Duende. I will reread their elemental magics and decide on that basis.
yeah, they're fairly different. Like yeah, the Duende is like a tinkerer. Um and the Diwata is just pure force.
I'll go with the saint.
So we got Santelmo, an Aswang, a saint,
And I think I'll go with the Diwata.
okay. All right, let me start hiding these ones. By Duende. All right, so I'm gonna pause the recording here and let y'all work on these characters while whoever's watching slash listening, thank you all so much. Don't have to like scrub through. I'm sure like maybe you don't wanna. I'm sure whoever you're watching don't be like, oh, there's clearly lots of dead air. I have to go back to this video. It's like 2 taps away from where I was. All right, okay. I'm just gonna pause here. All right, cool. So let's introduce these characters, which to anyone who's watching this will just have magically appeared whole cloth since that pause is gone for yourselves. So let's go left to right on the character keeper. Meanwhile, let me just share the screen for those watching. There we go. So, Bodhi, why don't you introduce us? Hold on. Oh, there we go. Sorry, froze there for a moment. Bodhi, why don't you introduce us to our Diwata?
Sorry, I lost unmute since you shared screen. Yes, I am playing our Diwata, whose full name is Encircling Sky, Sky for short. And their pronouns are they, them. Their human form is androgynous being with machinery that speaks for me. And the image I've got is more of a kind of like a feel than anything, because I couldn't find anything that represented kind of what I wanted. That's kind of halfway between my human form and true form, that kind of feel of that image. And so I'm thinking kind of in human form, very slight, very tall, and kind of holds a box with carved with symbols that kind of speaks. That's where my voice comes out of, and my mouth doesn't move when I speak. And my true form is a beautifully designed robot made of the rarest wood and brightest flowers. And I think that this robot is always kind of changing forms, kind of it's not in the sense of kind of gaining new abilities like a I've forgotten the name of that other playbook that does that. But in the aesthetic sense is always kind of like this pieces shifting and moving and growing and shrinking. And I hope to revive and rebuild the dying forest. And in aid of that attempt, I'm bonded to the last guardian of the forest. And I'm also bonded to a sympathetic corporate spy. And I'm imagining that this is potentially a romantic entanglement.
Potentially.
And yeah,
potentially, they say.
That's me.
Potentially, right. Okay, cool. For anyone who's like watching this, I think you can kind of tell that like, BALIKBAYAN is like a bit more magical compared to like other cyberpunk games. It is certainly something that like rests more on the on the on the weird weird future side. But yeah, certainly Sky's fab. I'll leave like any more questions like when we kind of like connect each other. because these are these kind of like drop down menus are kind of like a cool clutching together of different concepts. And then hopefully by the end of it, we'll have once everyone's connected to each other, these characters will like really like just be a bit more stark. But yeah, all right, cool. Love and Circling Sky. We'll come back to them in a moment. But for now, Stephen, why don't you introduce us to our saint? That's a beautiful picture.
I am Pananacop. I am La Inquisición. Where even before being bound by the corporations, I have long been a slave to the powerful. Now broken free, what once was conquest is merely quest. And I have returned to my home to burn out its rotten heart, and so that something may grow in its place. I am Quest, she, her. My human form has prayer beads inserted under the skin that move on their own. I imagine actually, because we talked about in the introduction that there is technologies in this world to detect and bind gods, but this is actually like the cyberpunk magic tech that is used by like god hunters to find them. And my true form is blue-skinned and red-eyed, with many arms holding holy symbols. And what I hope for is to find the lost god that is feeding on the heart of the city, and probably burn it out.
Yeah. You do have some like humans there.
Yeah, I tried to. My bonds are what keeps me tied to the human. A bubbly sex worker who helps the marginalized. Hint, Leandro, this is the Alex you'll be channeling, just so you know. And a little god reincarnated as a human.
Other thing I do want to make.
I think maybe I want them to become like the god of the city in the place of this lost god that's become merely parasitic.
Ooh, that'll be interesting tension. What if they don't want that? Do they want that? What's it like to be God reincarnated a human? We'll play to find out. Um, I also want to mention the tips and the questions to play to find out, which are also kind of like fab kind of like primers for the playbook, and and obviously like those of some playbooks will create some rules, figure out what this all means. We'll kind of like probably get to that on a case by case basis rather than like figure it out right now. What are the rules of divinity? Like, what makes a god? We'll figure that out as we play. But yeah, fearful of quest. For now, so we'll keep moving, and Donna, tell us about our Aswang. Who? Okay, cool. All right, love the name so far. But yeah, tell us more about them.
Yeah, so euphoric fear is the Aswang, pronouns she, they. Um, she has as her human form, a carefully crafted smirk and AI designer clothing, but their true form is dark wood and blackened wire, dripping blood and gore. Uh, I don't think that's in the shape of a human or anything like that. That's just, horrific. And obviously, there's a lot of options in this drop down that I thought were really interesting. But fall in love for the first time is obviously my jam. So I cannot resist that in a jammy game. I have, as those who I am bonded to, chosen an android that was once a human I killed, whose name is Helene, and a long lost sibling who does dangerous work for a corporation, who is, I should really remember the name, Adrian. And yeah, that is.
Real straightforward.
All my options. Yeah, so a terrifying fear machine. I think for short, either Euphoria or Fee.
Cool. I keep forgetting. Well, I shouldn't forget that the Aswang is the sexy vampire playbook. Uh, in many ways. Um, cool. Okay. Again, I'm starting to like form some questions in my mind, but I want to meet these characters and like their pitch first before I start asking them. Last but not the least, Mario, tell us about our Santelmo.
Okay, so I'm playing a mother sleep, and they don't really care about pronouns, so they mostly use they, but are okay with anything. The human form is something gentle and unassuming, and also something most humans tend to forget because they don't pay enough attention to the others or to mother sleep when they speak to them. The true form is something haunting and sad, and I think if I have some idea about who their dead beloved are, I take the form of them. So I'm all about family reunion in that kind of sense. My goal, therefore, is also to bring them back together, to remind them of their ancestral heritage. So I want to create a bridge between this world and Sulat, which is the underworld of our little lovely world. I'm bonded to humans that are alive, which is more complicated than you would think, because sometimes they talk a lot of nonsense. Sometimes they don't pay attention. Sometimes they just get lost within their petty little troubles. So there is an immortal human on the run from the corp, and that would be Nikolai Silva. And I think we met him back when we all were at the corp, and he was one of those the corp experimented on to to ensure that those who run the corp would be immortals as well. And so I'm curious about the side effects of those treatments that Nikolai has to endure from here on. And I also know a virtual pop singer who sings for the dead, and their name is Yana Noir, which is obviously their artist's name. And the bond I've got with her is more of something is a pretty emotional bond. So it's not about all the talking or what we have in common. It's just that we both can dwell in sadness. So we can sit there and listen to their super sad songs, and we're maybe not really crying. No, it's more like a weeping that we do together. And we both feel warm and welcome within this sadness because it feels like home.
Gotcha. This is the emo clique you're a part of.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But sounds like you go more for the slower sad songs. Cool, beautiful. Love Mother Sleep. All right, let me wrap back around to Encircling Sky. I want to ask some questions specifically about what each person like hopes for. Revive and rebuild the dying forest. Sorry, this curtain, the sun, the setting sun is being annoying. Um, revive and rebuild the dying forest. Have you been to the dying forest? Because like, part of what this game assumes is like you were all been safe by the core, but you've escaped. How how much do you know of the forest and why it's dying?
I have not been to the dying forest. I've simply heard whispers of it on the ether, kind of in the networks, and that is that's what put in the seed of doubt that let me break free of my enslavement. And I have, prior to, on my journey back home, I have gathered examples of seeds that I presume are extinct on Earth, and I have incorporated those seeds into the body of my true form. So there's kind of compartments for these seeds. Maybe I think there's just a few of them, but they represent a hope that the forest can be reborn.
Hmm. Cool. All right. Like I said, we'll flash out NPCs when we need to. All right. Moving on to quest. Find the lost god that is feeding on the heart of the city. Is dealing with gods. You said your plans for this one is to probably stop them from doing this or purify them. Is this a thing you normally do? In terms of you're dealing with gods, big and small.
I think that yes, as my name implies, I'm definitely sort of playing into a kind of, I guess, like, I guess I'm kind of I'm referencing sort of the kind of violence of syncretism in like behind a lot of syncretism in Quest that they have arrayed in the past a lot of the time as a being of divine violence, and now they're trying to turn that violence to saving the city rather than like invading it and conquering it.
Cool. Um, all right, that's beautiful. Um, let me move quickly to you. uh, What what's the nicknames for euphoric fear again?
Euphoria or Fee.
Cool. I wish I had a more high-minded question for this one. Fall in love for the first time. That seems very straightforward. Is there any reason why you feel um has feels like they've not done this before, or that they haven't felt love before? Like, I guess, how are they like in
I
their day
think
to day?
it's yeah. I mean, I think anyone that I fall in love with is going to die very soon, and that is either by my hand or just because that is the way the corporation works. Um, so yeah, very simple. Um, Falling in love is dangerous,
Yeah.
and probably not much for me, but for them, for sure.
And yet, like, this is what you hope for, despite the fact that it's dangerous, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, though maybe now that we are free of the corporation's control, if not attention, it'll be at least possible. Maybe that's the reason uh, I broke free originally.
Yeah, well, we'll play to find
A
out.
very selfish reason, I know, but there you go.
Hey, look, who does look, love him? I don't know. That's up to yourself. If you've not felt it, of course you'd want to feel it. Um, cool. Well, I'm rooting for her. Finally to mother sleep. You said that like your true form, something sad, haunting sad, is like the family. It's like family or like someone you love that like is no longer with you. I know. Is does Mother Sleep like truly like not know or like remember who that family or those loved ones were? Or do they know and like have them been kind of like looking for them since they can like bridge to the underworld?
Sorry, what was the beginning of your sentence again?
Oh, um, basically like you said that like your Mother Sleep's true form is kind of like um you said it was someone they had lost, if I remember that correctly.
Oh, that was, yeah, that there's the misunderstanding. That
Okay.
is the, like, whoever I'm talking to, I take
Ah.
the faces of their dead loved ones. So
Okay.
that
Yes.
may,
Okay.
I guess that makes a complicated stance within the human world,
Uh,
because
uh,
they are always reminded of death.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Thanks for clearing that up. That clarifies a lot of things for me. And just oh wow, that's a lot. I'm gonna keep asking that every time you meet someone now. God. Cool. Okay, that actually clarifies a question I had. All right. Thanks very much for the clarification. We'll wrap back around and we'll start we'll ask these questions like what connects us. So we'll jump back to encircling sky. The land whispers someone's name, and the sky dreams of them. Um, one them being one of the PCs. So you're to ask them one of these questions, and yeah, you've got a space there for the question you ask and the question you will be asked of. So yeah, any of these
Um,
questions spring to you?
yes, the one about unleashing my full power.
Ooh,
The
cool.
if you could put that on there, because I'm not on the right screen.
Of
And
course.
but before I get to that, I've had a thought about the dying forest, and
Mm-hmm.
it's okay if I share that quickly. I think I want to. I think Sky wants to plant the forest within the city. They want the forest and the city to merge and become one thing, and that makes a lot of people Sky's enemy, because, and not just within the court, because many people misunderstand my intentions and think that I want to destroy the city in favor of the forest rather than use the forest to save the city, which is what I actually want to do.
Well,
Uh,
that probably won't bite you in the butt.
I would be very disappointed if it didn't. Okay,
Nice.
so who's seen me unleash my full power? I think that's got to be Fee. And if this works for you, Donna, it feels like maybe you underestimated me, because I'm my kind of I'm not as, even in my true form, my power isn't kind of that obvious, that demonstrative, and maybe that you therefore got too close to me when I was unleashing this power, and that's why I destroyed something. That's how I ended up destroying something precious to you.
Yeah. I think maybe also given my true form, maybe there was something like a connection. Like I thought,
Mhm.
because my true form is Darkwood and other stuff, but
Yeah,
there was some
I,
kind
I'm
of
I'm loving how our forms are kind of almost the inverse of each other, our true forms.
yeah. Um, so yeah, I got too close.
what would you like as a player to be destroyed?
Well, obviously, it's got to be someone that I was on the cusp of falling in love with, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe it's not even that you got too close. Maybe it's that you didn't get them out of the way because you didn't think you needed to. And
Yeah.
I think Sky would. I think Sky would blame you for that. Like, even though it's your loss, I think Sky would feel kind of like causing that sort of collateral damage really strongly. So I think that it makes it worse than not only do you blame yourself for that, if I'm understanding you right.
Oh, absolutely. I am totally to blame for letting them near you.
But I can't forgive you for that because it's.
That's fair. I mean, I can't forgive myself either. But live and learn, or unlive and learn.
Fantastic.
Beautiful. If you don't mind writing bits of that over here. Meanwhile, move on to quest. The little gods gather around someone, whispering their name in prayer. Ask them one of these questions.
Oh, dang it. Well, I had also had a question for Fear here. I mean, is that okay? Or should I, try to...
It probably will be fine, but I think I do kind of prefer, we spread it out. So, if Fees got one, if that's okay, but, Woozy, what was the question? What was the question you wanted?
Well, I mean, I do have. I'll just throw it out anyway, but I'll pick someone else because I do have, and I just can't resist to given Fees. Hope is that I've always loved you. Why can't we act on this love?
That is good.
Almost worth bending the rules for.
I mean, it's not really I don't even know if there's a rule against it. I think the main thing is that it will kind of concentrate quite a bit on one character. Everyone's gonna have a connection to someone. So
yeah, I'm just kind of thinking here.
Yeah. Everyone gets to ask a question, so it should be fine.
Sure, I guess I'll tie this into maybe this is something that might pull us together as well. You saw. Oh, right now I want to throw it at someone else. Yeah, I guess I will ask. Encircling Sky, you knew me before I became a saint. What was I, and why is it our secret to never tell?
Ooh. So this is a long time ago, I'm imagining. Okay, tell me if this is too much, but were you one of the founders of the Corp?
That works for me. I like the idea that maybe is the corporation this kind of techno pantheon. That's its board.
Yeah. And you were a founding member of the board, and then yeah, I'll leave it to you to determine, obviously, kind of what happened around that.
I'm kind of wondering, is because it's our secret to never tell. Were you originally like also like recruited into the Pantheon, but until it turned on both of us?
I was thinking that maybe Sky was some sort of assistant, not kind of an actual member of the Pantheon, but maybe the kind of like how I don't know how much UK politics anyone knows, but like kind of how like the head of the civil service versus the ministers, kind of like
right,
the person who gets. I was the kind of
administrative versus
the
executive.
details person. Yes, yeah, I was
That
the
makes
head of
sense.
administrative. And yeah, and like we both got out for different reasons, probably, and but we were both led back to the same place.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I think no one in the resistance would trust you if they knew, so it has to be a secret. No one would trust me either.
What I love about this part of character creation is I just get to make faces at what you're suggesting. Cool. All right, Steven, you're good with that. Answer that question. Fab. All right. So we move to Fee, to Aswang. You protect someone and you hope they'll never be afraid of you. Ask them one of these questions.
So I am very tempted by the first one. You asked me to make you an Aswang like me, but I refused. Why won't I ever? Mario, if that sounds like something for Mother Sleep.
Absolutely. They absolutely would have loved to be an Aswang.
Okay.
I mean that's pretty cool, but then like if you can't have fear on your side, I think you just have to go full in and go all death. Yeah, so that's how they came to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the wire.
Why did I refuse, and why won't I ever make you one?
What about you? You know that I would be perfectly capable and perfectly suited to be an Aswang, but if you would turn Mother Sleep into an Aswang, that would be like everything would be out of balance, and there is and you feel that Mother Sleep would maybe drown in all the fear and despair they could cause. So therefore, it would poison the rebellion and what is left of humanity. That will be like a slow death. And now that they are watching over the death, they are it's like the world is in a way better balanced than it would have been otherwise. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect.
It's altruistic for Aswang. Cool. Love that. Is that good? Like the framing of that connection.
Yeah.
Cool. Beautiful. Last but not the least, Mother Sleep. Someone died and went to Sulad, but against all odds, they somehow returned to the land of the living. And feel free to frame this as like whether they know or not that they had died and went to Sulad. Ask them one of these questions.
And I feel like that perfectly ties into Quest's backstory. So yeah, what that was like some like part of the turning point of her life, like from corp corp member, founder of the corp, to the saint.
Yeah, and to play into the dark and sad side of it, I like the idea of what if there was, because this is something that comes up in a lot of faiths, that like some mutual god or human we loved was killed by the corp, and so you allowed me to die to go into the underworld. And the problem was, this was sort of, it's what's left the wound in the heart of the city, and that being came back as this lost god.
But they were a god before, right?
Yeah, but
He
now
died
they've
as a
come
god.
back as something parasitic and dangerous to the world.
Oh, interesting. So
That's a framing and a half.
yeah, I would say that they are a god just like you are, so they are equally one of us elementals,
Mm-hmm.
but with this next level of power.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting. Yeah. Yeah. just like you said, yeah, we keep that and see where that's going.
Okay. Cool. All right. So am I writing that up?
Yeah,
I think
they are dangerous and need to be destroyed is maybe Saint's framing of the problem. But
yeah, but part of the problem is that we have seen that whoever's coming back is changed.
mm-hmm.
So we haven't found, like, we have a lead
right
on who they are now, but we don't really know. So we're like always like careful whenever we met somebody real powerful.
Okay, yeah, and I understand you now.
All right. I think that's everyone's connections. Obviously, like if folks want to change that going forward, we'll feel do so. But I think we're good for now. With how everyone's connected, I think yeah, everyone managed to connect everyone. Cool. All right. So oh, whoops, the wrong tab. So next, we are gonna move on.
Oh,
Go ahead, Stephen.
You know what? Just to tie things in further, because we know something from the relationship between Euphoria. I mean, this is also a very like myth drama thing. That what if, because you said you're allowed your lover to become too close to Sky, and they were killed. Is this the one that I went into the underworld for?
Well, yeah, that sounds like a very passionate. Right.
Yes, absolutely yes. This
Look, the mortal, the person that's beloved of all the gods is.
And I think it kind of messes up our timeline of escaping together, but that's kind of it's worth messing up that timeline for.
Yeah, you all don't have to have escaped at the same time.
Yeah.
The main thing is that like this story is like gonna focus on the four of you. God. I think I'll ask Fee then to come up with whoever that number is, since well, they're probably gonna show up then. We'll do that later. Or do that during time. For now, we're gonna move on to the setting elements. So this is a bit different from belonging outside belonging, in that like the only person who's gonna pick up the setting element is myself. And there's only 3. So kind of really just tightens the focus. And they still have lures and moves. The main thing we're gonna do is choose desires. So we're gonna start with the enslaved. or the family we left behind. We were one of the lucky few who escaped. We left behind many of us. Some of the enslaved wanted to stay, choosing the cold machines over the heart of our home. Some of them helped us escape and were punished dearly for it. What makes them different from us, you ask? Not very much. Not very much at all. They are as powerful, dangerous, and as heartbroken as we are. And there's a lure when someone seeks out the enslaved or describes how they're intimately connected to one of the enslaved, as in, I introduce an enslaved, and you can just say, "Oh yeah, we're intimately connected." You get a token. There we go. So desires. I'm gonna read them out. So we're gonna choose two desires. We're gonna collectively choose them. So there's freedom from pain, vengeance, to become new masters, to be reborn, recreate the truth, atonement, break a prophecy, or illusion of power. And we'll kind of like define them, what that means in terms of what the enslaved wants. So just putting it out there, um what kind of like stands out to folks, um jumps out to folks.
From some of the stuff we've discussed already, I feel like something like either the illusion of power or to become new masters is as part of the enslaved's desires.
Yeah, because like as I said, so in the kind of like the intro, I'm just put out there for reference. In the intro, that like elementals were once kind of like the not rule the earth, but they're definitely like ones who had on a lot of influence on the earth. Oh, go ahead, Bodhi.
I was also drawn to freedom from pain because the way that I'm seeing this is that kind of the earth was being destroyed, but the corp was thriving at that time. So it's kind of you're part of something thriving, even if it's destructive, and you don't have to be part of the pain of the earth getting destroyed.
That sounds really cool. I think I might put that there for a moment. Oh, freedom pain there. Yeah, that sounds really cool. Because again, yeah, the enslaved are enslaved. Like they're this is not something they chose for themselves. You chose for yourselves. Other than being free. But I do like the idea of like, yeah, they want to at least like regain some illusion of power from maybe what they once had. Um, I'm spitballing here, but like if go ahead.
I think some of what we were discussing was almost the idea that it was a foolish decision that some of us did make for ourselves to like become a part of this pantheon that's really just slaves to the corporation.
Just a quick idea about like the history between humans and elementals. I want to throw in here, and let me know what you think about it. Is that like, let's say before all the technology happened, the elementals were powerful enough by themselves to be like superior to humans. Then humans got technology and they somehow catched up in terms of power. And now there's this thing that there's the myth, like the myth around Quest, that elementals could evolve to become gods themselves, which is just like a more powerful version of elementals. And now that is something a lot are thriving for, and they think they would need some sort of technology to become gods or godlike. And but that's like within our elemental communities, it's quite controversial because it's also like we see what the corp did. So can they be a useful tool, or is like that path already like taken and we clearly can see that it's not worth tolerating their existence anymore, something like that?
Yeah, that sounds really cool. If it doesn't look like I'm taking notes, because I'm bad at taking notes, hence why we're recording this. But that sounds like kind of like a cool like background, especially if the the corp is kind of like stylize themselves as a techno pantheon. Um, that's fab. I think yeah, these kind of like two desires fit into that backstory and kind of like what we've discussed. If that's okay with folks. All right, then there's some moves, but sorry, my mouse wheel is being annoying. There's some moves, but that's for myself. Damage your party to see while searching. That's great. So we move to the corp, our previous masters. The corporations have owned us body and soul for countless generations. No one remembers how the humans first discovered the true nature of our magic, except for us, the players. But that's player talk. Or how they built the machines to harness it. No one remembers why we agreed to it. We only remember that when we said no more, that they activated the enslavement protocols. We are an investment, and they wanted to continue to profit from our pain and the hardship. The corp is petty and incredibly deadly. When someone draws the attention of the corp or uncovers one of its secrets, they get a token. So the desires we have here are immortality for the elite, create unending war, fulfill a prophecy, recover the scion, kill the truth forever. Wow. Make elementals obsolete, or rewrite magic's laws. Um, Given we kind of like flesh out the core quite a bit more than I thought we would coming into this. Which of the desires do you think fits those? Uh, Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, just wondering if is working kind of directly against or
Then you're breaking up quite badly and roboting. I don't know if it's for everyone, but it's definitely for myself.
Yeah, it seems to be
I think he's
frozen now.
frozen, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I
Nope.
any better?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, I don't.
Come back to me.
Yeah, I can
Okay.
hear you
Oh,
now.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm wondering if that's what we.
Wow, you
I'm
started trying to
sorry.
explain your idea and you just breaking up. I don't know why how the internet figures out when the crucial bit you're about to say it starts breaking up. It's always on the crucial bit. But yeah, you're breaking up for us. Um. Oh, nope.
I don't know if that's any better.
Oh, we're getting you in bits and pieces. I'm sorry. Maybe like we're coming close like to another hour, so to the top of the next hour. So maybe we'll take a break early. Hopefully internet will start out for yourself, Dana. Let's take 7 minutes. Come back at 20 past. That's okay. Cool. Let's stop sharing this. All right. We're back. So back to the core. Dana, I hopefully the internet will let you spool your idea this time.
Third time lucky. So of course I could just switch the text, but I can you hear me all right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. My idea was to pick.
Oh my god, I can't believe it. Right? We heard my idea was to pick, and then you cut off.
Okay.
There's something's happening here. Something's happening here. I'm scared. I'm so sorry this is happening.
Okay, I'm gonna try dropping and rejoining. Let's see if that fixes. Otherwise, they're onto us. Obviously, we can't continue.
Striking too close at the true nature of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I will see you back in a minute.
Okay. Oh god. Well, if this is happening, there are probably some things y'all should tell me. Because I didn't get to create a character, so I don't know. As far as I know, I'm just me. So,
I mean, just. You should be bragging about that to us.
what?
You're Leandro fucking Pondock.
What? I'm just what? That's just one person. I don't know what you're talking about.
This game is entirely too indulgent of my my kind of penchant for backstory. It's not good having so much backstory. Well, it is good, but I get lost in backstory so easily.
All right. Let's hope the. Okay, it looks good so far. Hey, Donna, can you hear us?
Hey, I can hear you fine. You hear me?
Yeah. And
Okay.
and the video quality looks good.
So when the door behind me bursts in, and I'm killed in a hail of gunfire, you'll know to change channels.
Oh, all right. Okay. We'll have to play something more kosher with the corp.
Yeah. So let me see. Maybe I should switch my idea because it's obviously too dangerous.
Let's give it one more go.
Okay, one more go.
Yeah.
So obviously the core has come up with some kind of new technology or new rendering to make the elementals obsolete because they're too powerful and too uppity. So let's do without them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe that feeds into how we describe the enslaved as well.
Yeah, and I also think that perhaps we could play into, since it's already kind of came up with Mario's character, immortality for the elite. Perhaps they want to subsume that role in the techno pantheon.
Yeah, and us elementals are just like an uncertainty in the equation of on the path to achieve this immortality, right?
Yeah, I mean the shareholders hate uncertainty.
Yeah, this feels like some sort of hostile takeover that's currently going on, like at the board level. Kind of ousting the elementals from the pantheon and replacing them because they're too much.
God. Wow. You raised the hostile takeover. Like, oh God.
I guess they'll call them something like sea-level entities or something,
Yeah, the better to quantify them, make them seem less mystical, or make them more mundane. Sea-level entities. Everyone good with that? Corp. Okay, cool. So the last setting element is our magic, which is what powers the machines we are. Long ago, there may have been a boundary that existed between machine and magic. But now it is magic that powers the machines that make magic more powerful. This symbiosis runs our every planet and colony in our galaxy. It feels like that sentence is from another game. Wait, planets?
I mean,
galaxies?
it's implied that we were sent off world to these colonies, right? Already.
I'm not sure. I always thought the implications we are on Earth.
No, we came back to Earth. That was the idea. That we were sent to these far other planets to do this magic, but now we've returned to Earth.
Okay, I think that works. That makes sense. I was just not expecting planets, colonies, galaxies to reference. All right, anyway, that's me getting distracted. Our fated magic is unpredictable, and the ghosts in our machines demand life. But until we can bring about the rebirth of magic, this is all we have to protect us, our city and our future. As we use the last of our magic, we burn bright and hot, knowing we bring ourselves closer to losing magic forever. So, when someone seeks out the hidden magic of the city or meets one of the faded, um, they gain a token. I think that's kind of clear what faded means in the context of burning out magic. The paths we have, they're not desires, they're paths, are human dependence, peaceful oblivion, entropy, painfully reshape elementals, a fiery apocalypse, rewrite humanity, ascension in a new realm, or to be unshackled. So this is a these are potential ways for magic to go. Um, you know, in light of what the corp has been doing and what the elementals are like trying to resist. Um, Magic could go these ways.
So these are these the things that we're trying to work against? The kind of like this is the roots for the death of magic.
Yeah, I think not exactly the deaths, but like there are endings that magic can come to, like peaceful oblivion. That magic could go for that, or fiery apocalypse, or the painfully reshape elementals. Like some of the moves here are, bleed magic and disrupt the system, plunge everyone to a synthetic world of mayhem. It's definitely like chaotic and wild. I should say. Describe the beauty and power of chaos. Damage a part of the city with wild magic. So these are like, yeah. So
It kind of feels like it's like that it's describing like the telos of magic in this game, if we're using annoying classical Greek philosophy terms.
Well, I didn't know if we were all using it, but I guess we are. It's okay. It's good. I get what you mean. So yeah, any of these interest folks? Do any of these?
I mean, I'd like to have something like some sort of opposition between those two. So it's like either I like the combination of painfully reshape elementals and rewrite humanity, but also ascension and a new realm, and peaceful oblivion, for example.
I was even thinking I don't know how bleak we want to make this, but like between peaceful oblivion and fiery apocalypse.
Two ends. Quietly into that good night, or not gently into that good night.
And it feels like we're maybe trying to kind of thread the needle between those two, kind of go one iota too far one way or the other way, and you'll get just fading and peaceful oblivion or a fiery apocalypse, but hit the exact kind of center and you might get rebirth.
Yeah, trying to hit like a target, a small hole in the middle of a giant battle station that's as big as a small moon. I mean, it's that hard. That sounds folks. That sounds like a good like kind of pairing. Unless, but if folks have other ideas, I can hear them out. But what about yeah, Donna? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think initially I was inclining towards maybe rewriting humanity or painfully reshaping elementals, even before I heard the pitch for the duality. But I like this pitch, the carefully step through the needle in between apocalypse and oblivion. Yeah, I think I like that.
Yeah, it does kind of give like our series like a bit of urgency because spoilers, there's only 3 sessions after this. So a kind of urgency is welcome, and probably are folks good with those two? That's what I'm leaning towards. Okay, peaceful being or fire pockets. I assume that some elementals probably have seen or are working towards elements of either. um So yeah, those are kind of like the 3 setting elements. They're kind of like the pillars that prop up the world. now we dive into something more specific, which is the city. So, the way this kind of works is that like this is kind of like a map or like a layout of some bits of the city. We always start with the haven, but like as folks are more interested in other places, we go to them. There's the market, the sensorium, and the lab. With the haven, everything's unlocked from the start. Oh, these are notes from the the other Balikbayan game. So I'm gonna delete that. Uh, um, so we're gonna like decide leader, the aesthetics, the stuff with the haven. For the other ones, we'll kind of like decide them as we go along, and you can feed in the each of them tokens you collect, and they'll unlock like a new market move, which means more stuff for me to do, and a market contact. So which are people you can do favors for to get more tokens. Again, there's some choices here from the old game. Don't worry about that. For now, we'll concentrate on the Haven, which is let me put this out. When we first arrive in the city, we search for safety. Soon we found others like us, the unseen and the broken, who hold on to hope as tightly as we do. Together, we can create a home. So this is home base. And Pro tip to any other writers or RPGs out there, fucking love base building. I'll just say that right now. So I'm gonna ask each of you like one of these. So let me just go through the options. So leader of the Haven, we've got Sabotage, an android who carries the collective unconsciousness of fallen colony warriors. Jesus Christ. Giga, a former corp executive who was killed and discarded. Risu, a Tikbala with most of their magic withered away. And Zane, a child prophet. I'm going to ask, not in any order, I'm just going to pick from my one. Steven, which one of these interests you?
Let's see. Uh, yeah, I guess I am interested in Risu.
Cool. Tikbala with most of their magic withered away. Interesting. Um, yeah, and also this kind of signifies that unlike in some other games, you're not the only you of your playbook. There are other Diwatas, other Santelmos, Saints, Aswangs over there, and the playbooks y'all didn't pick are are out and about. Cool. So, do you have some ideas of about Risu, or is that something we can just like find out later? Um,
Well, let's see. The Risu is the Tikbalan is like the shapeshifter, right?
Yeah, they're no yes shapeshifter, specifically animal shapeshifter. They
Yeah.
carry like the memories of deceased animals. For there are not there are none of them left. Apparently.
Um. Yeah, I guess. I think that like they have their magic has withered away, that they're able to like they carry the memories of animals and they use that memory to nourish those around them with like the memory of food and of and nutrition.
Hmm.
Like it's the last miracle that they're capable of. So much of their magic is gone.
Hmm. Aw, love them. I'll put a picture in NPC unless you have a picture yourself there, Steven. For
I
now,
don't. I picked them like 5 seconds ago.
okay, fair. All right, we'll move to the Haven aesthetics. I think let's look at the options. There's a lot. Graffiti that responds to nearby thoughts. I fucking love that one. Heavy wires full of crackling sound giving off sparks. Brightly colored shanties full of music and the smell of food. Small marketplace full of these scavenged and discarded illegal shrines with mundane objects made holy and sacred, weapons of war made into furniture and dwellings, mutated flora and fauna of bioluminescent colors, corp machinery repurposed to serve the haven, small restaurants filled with noise and laughter. Something else fills us with hope. Um, I'm gonna start with Bodhi. If you would like to pick one, we'll choose like the full three. Let's say. Um,
I want to go for illegal shrines with mundane objects made holy and sacred because I feel like Sky would be, as soon as Sky sees that those things are there, they'd be making them, like adding to their number.
Can you give us like a quick sample? What would be a mundane object that would be made holy and sacred?
I think just like someone's twisted together kind of wires pulled out of broken electronics to make like a crown of thorns, and they're kind of like objects that have was like found art that and someone's made a figure of a tree out of a circuit board, and like it's just really kind of folk art with technology echoing natural forms.
That's really cool. That's some like proper post-apocalyptic stuff. Or at least, set dressing you find in a post-apocalyptic video game, but that's really cool. Beautiful. All right. Mario, pick a second one.
That's hard to pick a single one, but I think.
Yep, we're playing a jammy game.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think because I know all of the other players that I will love to have one or another scene at a small restaurant filled with noise and laughter.
Is there anyone in particular that that Mother Sleep goes to? Any kind of restaurant? Any specialty? Italian?
No, Mother Sleep is a foodie. She appreciate they appreciate like or everything nice and well made and delicious.
Out of curiosity, what's the restaurant that your singer performs at?
Yeah. Also, it's like a restaurant and not like a club, so it's
okay.
Yeah, I mean, but I have friends who have performed at restaurants, so
yeah.
Lost Tortoise or something like that.
Love it. Lost Tortoise. As you can tell, especially Jamie, if you're watching this, I'm way worse at taking notes compared to them. You saw that paragraph that was there, but yeah, no, I love the idea of small restaurants. We're definitely gonna show up with the Lost Tortoise then. And Donna, why don't you pick the last aesthetic?
I think a small marketplace full of the scavenged and discarded. Like there's right to repair kits and generic products that the cores would hate to see on the streets. And things which no one has found a use for yet, but which are going to be useful someday for sure. So a real mishmash of things.
Yeah.
And sometimes these turn into shrines, when they had passed a certain point.
Yeah. I'm loving this like this like vision of the Haven. It's like this, but it seems like a kind of like a small but bustling kind of like hub. Doesn't seem quiet, which is nice. Um, but of course, with a place with quite a number of noise, there are gonna be threats. Turn back to you, Stephen. But let me read out these threats first. The Haven rests on a fault line of chaos magic. Memory hunters stalk the vulnerable. Nearby gangs want our territory. Corp broadcasts invade our psychic privacy and seek information. Ugh, it's like weaponized adware. Hollow ghosts haunt us seeking something we cannot give. Corp spies send information back to their masters or something else that threatens their safety.
Hmm.
Anyone else jump to you, Stephen?
Yeah, I think. I think. I'm just looking here. Yeah, I guess I'll go with nearby gangs want our territory. I think this is a bustling marketplace that is like nominally under Risu's protection, but their power only extends sort of symbolically, and the nearby gangs have been testing it.
Interesting. Wonder if those gangs. Oh, those gangs must know they're like elementals or out and about. Might have some elementals with them. Um, I think I'll pick the last one. Um, so this will be the one choice I make. um, I'm gonna pick corporate broadcast, invade our psychic privacy, and seek information. I think this is very much a case of kind of like you know proper cyberpunk giant neon screens that are just kind of like flashing advertisements. I think there are like small kiosks that are kind of like um they show up in Mass Effect where the ads kind of like almost program themselves to whoever is like nearby. Um, and the corp would know if like a person is like unregistered or isn't like there because like they look at the ad and then like the ad would try to register and like greet you by your name, but then they'd see that you're not on any kind of like maybe official or maybe info is weird, and it's a very benign way of invading your psychic privacy and seeking info. um but I think that's what's there.
That brings a totally new layer to the shrines, I guess, because the shrines are bits and pieces of technological stuff. What about those are like pirate broadcasts or like just like distortion sort of programs, so that we could keep some sort of privacy and safety to the haven.
Yeah, yeah, they're almost a glamour.
Well, or it's like a localized umbrella of ad blocker, you know.
I mean, in some ways, an ad blocker is kind of a glamour in a modern day. Fab. All right, this all seems really cool. And Haven moves. So the thing with moves, this is different from setting elements in the city. Like moves are basically more lures, more ways to get tokens, token bonanza. So I'll make sure to like tell y'all if like you gotta move if you play into any of the you've got a token if you play into any of these moves. Okay, so we're not gonna like looked at the other three. I think we'll probably like look at them as we play along. We've got some time to like maybe like do some like opening vignettes or like shots of folks in this haven. Just get a glimpse of what they are. I suggest like maybe let me stop sharing this. I just maybe framing a opening vignette around maybe a weak move so you can get a token, or playing into someone's lure. Um, so yeah, I think we've got time to like set kind of like a scene, or not set a scene, but like set a tone, um, for your characters. So like have a moment to think about what kind of like opening shot or vignette you like see for your characters, and then we'll leave those as like teasers for next week when we get into it. So yeah, once you got like idea, feel free to like shout it out.
I mean, I could set a sort of a noir tone with Mother Sleep, and I think we see them on what was once the workers' quarters, which is just like this massive blocks of like 20-ish story skyscrapers that are barracks, that they are like a whole block in itself. So like some of the apartments don't even have like access to, or like a window or access to some sort of natural light. It's just like grim and dark and dystopian cyberpunk imagery. And and there is this rain, and I remember in the first iteration there was like acid rain and sentient smoke and whatnot. And I think we see that this block that is like, it looks more like a wasteland. During the last rebellion, the corp just like trashed the whole place with bombs and whatnot. So we see Mother Sleep standing on top, and we see a hollow of Yana Noir, this singer, and we see the two of them just like slowly closing their eyes and dancing in this not so skin friendly rain. And we see that like we see little bits of smoke, just like acid dropping onto like the synth leather clothing both of them would be wearing. Not so much the hollow, but Mother Sleep's clothing is just like getting getting washed away with the rain, basically. But the two of them are dancing to some music we can't really hear. We just hear the pouring of the rain and the vast emptiness of this once lively part of the city.
That's beautiful and haunting and sad. Uh, I was gonna ask like one your NPC Yana Noir, virtual pop singer. So they're a hologram. Are they like
They are here as a hologram. I think
okay?
they are not in like the corp we are fighting, but they are. I just imagine in the future all those streamers, and we have another streamer NPC which I know of, which is Alex, and I think they have this some sort of gated communities where they have to work and they can't go out by themselves. So the only way to connect with people outside the gated communities, which is more of like a prison than actually something that protects them. So via this holographic technology, they can connect with people outside of their communities. That's why we saw the hollow. I'm totally fine with being like an actual real person, but they don't have access to the parts of the city that we as elementals have, or like as free beings.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to clarify. But that's God, that's fucked up. Hmm. Okay, that's a lovely opening shot for Mother Sleep. What about for other Elementals.
I think maybe let's set a scene in our nice marketplace where one of the rival gangs are trying to muscle in on someone's business. I think the first thing they see of Euphoria is the dark barbed wire loop go over their head, and they're dragged off into an alleyway. I mean, I won't say never to be seen again, but they may be seen again.
We might open up next week with that. Um, gosh. All right. Short and sweet. Beautiful. All right. What about Sky Quest?
So Sky, you see Sky walk into a tea bar. It is, and slide a packet across the bar to the bartender, and the bartender opens it up and kind of whistles through his teeth, and I've managed to find some real tea, not the synthetic stuff that everyone has to drink nowadays. And I just, as the bartender kind of goes about heating water and kind of preparing the kind of the tea service, I place my speaking cube on the bar and kind of just have a kind of lively conversation with this bartender. And when the tea comes back on a kind of small kind of golden kind of inlaid tray, it's clearly kind of like he's pulled out the best tea set for this kind of rare thing that I found. It's clear that we're friends, myself and the bartender, and then I leave my speaking cube on the bar, and then continue the conversation as I go and sit down at a small table, and I pull a hood over my whole face, so that you can't see, my mouth doesn't move at any point. You've not seen my mouth open, and I pull this tea underneath the hood and kind of drink it concealed that way all the time, keeping up my friendly chatter with the bartender, about kind of 10 meters away from my speaking box at the bar.
God, they must got just really used to talking to the box rather than to. We're still talking to you, but like why talk to the face that's not talking when the cube is there? God. We need to get to know this bartender friend that might show up again. All right, cool. Last but not least, Quest. Let's kind of a shot to see if you get like the mood of you, so to speak.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking here. I think that we see Quest going into this sort of seedy, I guess, kind of virtual den on the edge of the haven. And I think it's this very I think that the rigging is this kind of weird mishmash of wiring and like pentagrams and other like mystical like symbology, that it is this that like the like sort of virtual space of the world is a kind of like spirit realm. And I think that she calls out something like oh, I was just looking it up. Duma, I require your aid. I require your flaming sword. Flames are coming for this world. It will either be a final great and fiery war or a fading away into nothingness. I know what I choose, but what about you? And I think we sort of fade away from me, and we kind of move out to the orbit, to like we look out into Earth from space, and we see like an old military satellite kind of turn its gaze towards the surface. And I am just to clarify what move I was making here, I was seeking out the enslaved.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, take a token for that. Cool. I think we're ending a bit early, but I'm trying to get used to the idea of ending early, and also honestly, I'm feeling a bit tired. So if that's okay, folks, we'll end like a half hour early. We'll do some wishes and whatnot. But yeah, we'll end on that note of this satellite gazing, a God's eye view upon our little patch of earth. Near said little patch of heaven, but it's not really heaven, is it? Cool. Thanks very much, folks, for creating these like beautiful characters in this wonderfully fucked up world. Um, if anyone who's watching, thanks for doing so. You want to check out Balikbayan. I think so far only 1.0 is kind of like out there, but it's well worth the read. I would say. Yes, 2.0 doesn't have some. I do miss the sentient fog. So if you want to check that out, 1.0 is there. But check out Jamie's other games. Check out the Gauntlet. There'll be links down below. Thank you all so much. Next week we're gonna see these characters. Get deep into their feelings. This is a belonging outside belonging game. That's what's going to happen. Will we save the world? Will there be a peaceful oblivion? Will the corp get to us? Well, tune in to find out. I'm gonna stop recording. Goodbye, YouTube.